Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, everybody. It's time for our annual audience survey. We'd really like to hear from you. It helps us understand our audience better, know what you like and don't like, how you listen to the show. It also helps us tell advertisers what kind of people listen. But I promise you, your feedback is always kept personally anonymous. All you have to do is visit twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. It'll just take a few minutes, and it'll help us make Twit even better. We really appreciate your support and any help you can give us. twit.tv/survey. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, February 20th, 2016. This is episode 1263. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/techguy. And by PillPack, a full-service pharmacy that combines the personalized service, convenient packaging, and modern technology to make your life easier. Visit pillpack.com/twit to save $20 on vitamins and OTCs when you transfer your prescriptions. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank to find out more. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside those areas, you can use Skype to reach us. We're available. We're here. We have lots of listeners all over the internet. Huge amount of interest, of course, in the court decision that Apple must decrypt an iPhone not owned, but used by one of the San Bernardino shooters in that terrible, terrible mass killing a few months ago. The FBI recovered a iPhone 5C that he had been using. It wasn't his. It was owned by his employer, the San Bernardino County Health Department. And so it really wasn't, it didn't require permission to search it because it was government owned, and the San Bernardino County Health Department gave the FBI permission to access it. But the phone was locked and encrypted, and the FBI were concerned. As you might know, iPhones, there's a feature you can turn on that if somebody tries to guess your lock code more than 10 times, the phone erases. And the FBI went to the court and said, we're concerned that if we try to open up this phone, it will erase itself. We don't want to do that. So we want Apple to do three things. We want them to turn that feature off. We want them, there's a slowdown in between, not very much, less than a second, in between entries of PIN codes. But of course that slows you down because there's 10,000, it was a 4-digit code in this case because it's an older phone. That would require 10,000 tries. And of course, the FBI is in a bigger hurry than that, so they asked Apple also to eliminate that slowdown. They asked Apple to modify the phone firmware in such a way they could brute force. They themselves, the FBI, could guess how to get into it. Apple said the court agreed, issued an order, and Apple, when they got that order, they have 5 days to respond. They haven't. I don't know if they've officially responded to the court yet. I'll have to check the latest because this has been breaking fast. But that day, Tim Cook wrote an open letter. You can see it on the Apple website saying, we don't want to do this because this doesn't just affect this one phone. By doing so, we would, in effect, be giving the FBI a backdoor into all Apple iPhones. And furthermore, once such a backdoor exists, it's impossible or almost impossible to keep it secret. And that means your privacy as an iPhone user would be compromised. We don't think that's a good idea. We'd like there to be public discussion about this. Whether they'll defy the court order is another matter. I would expect they'd appeal it, but I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not sure what legal avenues exist. So there's kind of where we stand. There's a little bit more to the plot, however. It seems that the FBI, according to Apple, had the phone, then changed the passcode themselves. And some people believe, probably correctly, that this isn't a particularly important case for the FBI. They have several of the phone's backups. They have, of course, records of calls made by that phone, because those are available through the phone company and through people that the phone called. They have the information from those people. So the FBI has considerable amount of information on the phone. It's hard to imagine what else could be on there that would be necessary, particularly since the shooter himself is now dead and not being prosecuted. And some think, because of the Apple's assertion that the password was changed once in the FBI's custody, the FBI says, oh, no, we didn't do that. The San Bernardino County Health Department did that. We don't know. But there's some speculation, I think probably accurate, that the FBI really wants a precedent. They're not as interested in this particular case as getting the court to issue this demand and Apple to do it so that they would establish a precedent. You see, what happened, Apple changed how iPhones were encrypted with the release of iOS 8. Prior to that, Apple was able to get into encrypted phones, and law enforcement had sent them phones and asked them to decrypt it, and Apple had been doing that. It took a while. I think the total number of phones Apple had been asked to decrypt was somewhere around 70. It was under 100. However, they had been doing that, and it was apparently a great amount of expense to Apple. And furthermore, they didn't want to get in the business of being the phone crackers. And by the way, it's not just for U.S. law enforcement. Once Apple demonstrates the ability, they can be approached, because they do business all around the world, including in repressive countries like China. They could be asked to do the same by those governments, and perhaps asked to do it not for criminals, but for dissidents, political dissidents. And Apple just doesn't want to get in that game. So they changed how iPhones work. They say, or they said, they've changed their tune a little bit. They said with iOS 8, we can no longer do this. We don't have the means. We don't have any ability to crack the contents of the phone. It's encrypted. And so law enforcement don't ask us anymore. FBI Director James Comey took great umbrage at this and said, this is really getting in the way of our prosecution of terrorists, and we need this information. The world is going dark for us because of encryption, widespread use of encryption. Apple now says, by the way, that if they were to unlock this phone, all iPhones, even new iPhones with newer operating systems, would be vulnerable. That's news. The FBI responds saying this is just marketing. Apple is just using this. It's a marketing strategy to promote the fact that they are the privacy company. There may be merit in that as well. Really important point is, even if U.S. companies are compelled by law, and they may be, to offer backdoors in their encryption technology, more than 70 other countries offer encryption technology, strong, good encryption, and it would in no way prevent terrorists from using encryption, period. That encryption, good, strong, unbreakable encryption is math, and the math is well known and exists. And while you can compel, any country can compel companies doing business in its country to provide backdoors, that is illegal, well, not illegal, but secret, I guess would be the best word, ways in for law enforcement. There are enough countries and enough places where you can get encryption that it wouldn't, in the long run, be an effective tool. Furthermore, Harvard's Berkman Center brought together a panel of some of the best experts in the world on security, and recently, just a couple of weeks ago, issued a paper called Don't Panic, saying, well, here's the good news. Because of the proliferation of devices in our home that connect to the internet, like TVs, Amazon Echoes, refrigerators, everything, doorbells, the FBI, the law enforcement, has many more surveillance opportunities than ever before. In fact, FBI's even said that. Department of Justice even said that. Oh, we can spy on you in a whole bunch of ways. So the Harvard study said, don't worry, law enforcement has plenty of tools. They are not going dark. It's a really interesting legal and philosophical question. On the one hand, of course, if you are in the United States, one of the crown jewels, one of the things that makes us a great nation is our rule of law. And even if we disagree with the law, in the long run, we agree to adhere to it. On the other hand, there's a great amount of fear of the government of late, and certainly other countries' governments. And the real concern that our privacy will be impinged upon, the fact that we will have no privacy, and that a malicious government, whether ours or some others, will now be able to surveil us 100%. Whose side are you on? I have lots of misgivings in both directions. 8888 Ask Leo. We could talk about that and your own personal tech when we get back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This is the song Tim Cook does not want to sing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. What a subject. I'll tell you, it's complicated, very complicated. There's merit on both sides, I have to say. I mean, everybody wants to be safe from terrorists. 8888 Ask Leo. I would say that if a terrorist wanted to find strong encryption and wanted to hide their doings from law enforcement, they could easily. How to do it is well known. You don't use an iPhone, obviously. So really, whatever Apple is forced or ends up doing in this case isn't, in all likelihood, going to thwart people who know what they're doing. It's only going to thwart casual criminals or criminals who aren't sophisticated enough to use this latest technology. We know, for instance, that ISIS is pretty savvy technology-wise, that they know how to use good encryption, how to stay out of the reaches of law enforcement. We know that. So the real question is, well, who exactly does the FBI want to get here? Who exactly are they looking to get? It's been my experience, having talked with law enforcement for years about forensics, computer forensics, digital forensics, that in most criminals just give it up. They just go, yeah, what? You need a password? Sure. In the long run, law enforcement has good tools for getting criminals to give it up. And they have pretty good tools for surveillance. So the question really is, what more do they want? What more do they need? Probably is a better question. What more do they have to do their jobs? And what right to privacy we as individual citizens have? And it's not enough to say, well, if you have nothing to hide if you don't do anything wrong. That's not enough. We can think of lots of cases from history where people who theoretically did nothing wrong, were surveilled in ways that took advantage of their privacy inappropriately. So it's very difficult. 8888 Ask Leo, but that's the hard stuff. Let's do some easy stuff. Let's talk to you about your technology woes. Kim Schaffer's here answering the phones. Hello, Kim.
Good morning. Definitely the topic of the week.
It really is. And, I did a lot of interviews, got a lot of calls from stations and people interested in this. And I wish I had a clearer answer. You have to weigh this stuff carefully. There's lots of points on both sides to be made. Absolutely. However, I kind of prefer the stuff like my printer won't work and I can help you. That stuff's easier than this deep philosophical stuff. Who do you have for me here?
Well, I know how much you like spending other people's money.
That too, you see?
So Roger in Bannon, Oregon
is
going to help you, or you're going to help him.
Thank you, Kim. Hi, Roger. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome.
Thanks. Looking to change careers. I turned 54 a couple of weeks ago and decided it's time to do something I've been looking to do for about 30 years, and that's maybe get into voiceover work. Nice. And so I was wondering if you could point me in some directions as to how to get, like everybody else, the best quality sound that I can for the least amount of money.
Yeah. This is something I would like to get into too. So let me know if you figure it out. It is challenging. You know, the voiceover guys. There's a handful of guys and gals who get all the work, and then the rest of us all look at that and say, "Wow, I'd like in a world. I'd like to do that." So it's easy enough to build a sound studio. One of my favorite voiceover guys, Jim Cutler, who's a close friend and in fact does voiceover work for us, and ESPN and many radio stations. You've heard his voice. The problem is you wouldn't necessarily recognize it because he's so capable. There's a wonderful documentary on voiceover artists that I strongly recommend. I think it's on Netflix. It's free. I'll find the name of it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it will give you an idea of the skills involved. That's harder to do. I could tell you the technology. That's easy. So Jim works out of his house, as many voiceover artists do, thanks to ISDN, which is a digital phone line that the phone company can, if you know how to get it out of them, provide you with. It's what I'm using right now. I'm working in Northern California, and we use a digital phone line, an ISDN line, to send my voice in high quality, perfect quality, down to the studios in Southern California, where they then mix it up. That's where Nathan is. He puts the music on there, and we send that up to the satellite, and that's how local stations get it. You can do the same thing for voiceover. In fact, it's commonly done for voiceover. You might even have a client that's in one city that sits and listens to you as you record in your home and send them the audio over high-quality ISDN lines. So it may not be I would not start doing that right up front. Wait till you get some work, because a lot of what you can do, you can just record at home. And nowadays with computers, you can easily do a good job. I do commercials at home all the time for this show with a good microphone, recording onto a computer in you need a good little booth. That's easy enough to do by just taking a closet somewhere, especially if it's filled with clothes. That'll make very nice sound dampening. If it's not filled with clothes, there's soundproofing material you can put on the wall. Don't put egg cartons on the wall. That's a fire hazard. You'll see that. Okay. You'll see that. All right. And it's the same shape as the non-flammable foam that you can buy. A little more expensive, but it will do a better job, and you won't die in a horrible fire. And then getting a good mic is another issue. You want to get a mic that matches your voice quality. I use exclusively a relatively inexpensive mic called a Heil. It's from Heil Sound, Heil Sound. Bob Heil is an amazing sound guy. It's the Heil PR40. It's what I'm using right now. And at $350, it's about a tenth the cost of a lot of mics you see in professional studios, like the Neumanns. The German Neumann mics are very popular in recording studios. But for voiceover work, this mic is great because it has good what we call off-axis rejection. So noises off to the side are not as loud. That's good. It means you don't have to soundproof quite as well. I'm actually not in a soundproofed room. But because it's got such good off-axis rejection, it sounds very clean. It also has something called the proximity effect. And this, believe it or not, is something you can use as you get closer to the mic. The bass comes up, and so you can use it to make yourself sound more like one of those in a world guys, just by working the mic, or sound more normal as you sit 6 inches away. So a Heil PR40, the problem is it's a professional mic, which means you can't just plug it into the computer. You need to get a USB interface. And Shure makes an excellent one. That's not too expensive. It's around $100. There are quite a few of these. If you go to like Broadcast Supply Warehouse, BSW, and just type in USB mic interface, you'll see some very good choices. They're all good. And you don't need to spend more than $100 or so to do that. In fact, if you're really on a budget, the Shure mic, the SM58, is really kind of a standard mic used everywhere. It's $125. It's used in punk bands famously use it because you can't destroy it, but it sounds good. It's what we call a dynamic mic, as is the Heil PR40. So getting a good mic and then you record to your computer. You can use Audacity. I use Adobe's Audition on the Windows side. I use Amadeus Pro on the Mac. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The name of the documentary, if you want to become a voice actor, you got to watch I Know That Voice. And it's on Netflix. I think it's free. You can find it all over the place. I Know That Voice. interviewing some of the best voice actors out there. It's very hard. I can't do it. I can do a lot of voices. I have 40 years in broadcasting, and I can't do it because it's really, you have to be a very talented actor, and you have to move on a dime. They say, well, can you do that sad now? Oh, can you do that same voice happy but kind of sad because you know what's going to happen isn't good, but on the other hand, you're pretty excited, and and you have to do it. And it's hard. I tried. It's not like I didn't try. In fact, I got a pretty good gig doing voice acting for a guy named Francis Ford Coppola, you might have heard of. Turns out, I did not know this at the time, but before he makes a movie, Coppola will make, they call them animatics. It's a way of pre-visualizing a movie. You know, some directors like Hitchcock very famously do storyboards with every scene drawn out, and they know exactly what they're going to shoot. Coppola would actually do a radio play of at least some of his movies ahead of time, and bring in actors and have them read the script and then animate put pictures by it so they actually could see the movie before he made the movie. And I auditioned for it, and I was very lucky to get a part doing a radio play for Francis Ford Coppola, going down, sitting right next to him. And I worked 2 days, and he kept saying things like, no. That's. At one point he said, can you do it more like Bob Woodward? Bob Woodward? You mean All the President's Men, the Bob Woodward who broke the Watergate story, Bob Woodward? Yeah, can you do it more like that? I don't know what Bob Woodward sounds like. So I tried. 2 days later, he replaced me with Father Guido Sarducci. So there you go. These things happen. It's hard. It's hard work. But, you know, if you can break into it, it's good money. My friend Jim works like 80-hour a week. Record all the time. It's hard work. Mark in Escondido, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I am sort of a stickler for maintaining my desktop. I'm running Windows 7, and I'm currently using a program called Advanced System Care Pro. Do you have any opinions on that?
Not familiar with it. Let me go look at it. I'll tell you, in general, OCD, while sometimes useful in life, is probably not necessary these days on a computer. Okay, I see. It's a registry cleaner. My general feeling about these kinds of programs are a well-designed operating system shouldn't need this kind of maintenance. And most of the time, companies that sell these kinds of products are selling you snake oil. So it says, basic system clean, fix, and optimization. Ultimate system tune-up. Up to 300% internet speed-up with Internet Booster. Real-time optimization with Active Optimize. I'm reading their list of features. Deep Windows registry clean. Maximum hard drive performance. None of this you need. It's all made up. I'll tell you why. You know, registry is a good example. Now, this was a horrendous decision on the part of Microsoft, and it goes back 30 years to 1995, the Windows 95 registry, which was to put all the settings, everything, for every program in a giant hairball file that you can't, it's not text, you have to use a special program to look into. And this file, oh, by the way, can't be larger than 2 gigabytes or it's really going to be problematic. So the idea of a registry cleaner was born. You can edit the registry, but you do so at your own peril because it's very easy to delete something critical that the system needs. You can actually, with a registry editor, because those changes are instantaneous, make your computer unbootable. So the idea of an automated registry cleaner was born, and there are a number of these like CCleaner, that's the best known. The problem with that is if it's aggressive, it can cause the same problems. It can break things. And if it's not aggressive, it's not really going to do anything of value. So in my opinion, a registry cleaner is very much overhyped. In the days of Windows 95 and 98, you did need a disk optimizer because the operating systems were too dumb to keep the disk files in a sequential order. They'd spray them all over the system. There's two things have happened. First of all, That doesn't matter on modern computers with solid-state drives because there is no access time. They're random access, so it doesn't matter. In fact, the hard drive itself takes over the task of where to put data, doing something called wear leveling to make sure that no cell gets too much activity. So that's disk optimization is actually not only pointless on solid-state drives, it's bad. You shouldn't do it. And modern operating systems, like the one you're using, NTFS, Modern File Systems and Operating Systems, Macintosh's HFS, Hierarchical File System, handle this automatically anyway. They optimize the disk. So that's not needed. What else does it do? So that's maximum hard drive performance. Optimizing internet access. I don't even know how it would do that. There's no magic there. Used to be, a lot of this comes from the old days where this stuff was new. Used to be you could modify the maximum transmission unit or MTU size to optimize internet access. You don't do that anymore. You don't need to do that. Software is much smarter than it used to be. In fact, Windows is better at this than any third-party program, particularly since you don't really want third-party programs mucking around in there. Auto RAM clean, come on. Really? Again, comes from the days of Windows 3.1. Remember QEMM, the memory manager? Old folks will remember all of these programs, and that's why these programs exist, because old folks like me remember, I used to have to optimize my system memory, my RAM. You don't do that anymore. Any modern operating system is going to do a great job managing memory. That's, by the way, why you don't see as many crashes as before. Systems are well written. So, in my opinion, the best thing you can do is not use these. Oftentimes, these kinds of background processes are what's really slowing down your computer. Having this running all the time in the background, what do you think that's going to do to your performance? That's bad. The best thing you can do is keep your system optimized, up to date by getting all the patches when they come out and applying them. Deleting or uninstalling programs you don't need, and being very careful about what you install to make sure that none of those programs come from sources that are going to be running in the background. A lot of security software slows your system down. Ad software, you get a special browser tool, a toolbar that you don't want that. Get rid of that. Don't install anything you don't absolutely want on your system. That's going to help. And then if you're worried about your registry, in my opinion, the only viable, safe, and effective way to fix that is to start over once in a while. Every year or so, just wipe your drive, back up your data, make sure it's a good chance to make sure you have a good data backup, wipe your drive and reinstall Windows. Everything works better. And then be very judicious and slow about reinstalling apps you don't need. People feel like if you arrange everything just so, it's like that. I always used to think my car ran better after going to the car wash. It just seemed faster, right? Well, obviously it's not. You just feel better about it. That's what these do. They're placebos. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Apple. I got unsolicited a replacement cable for my MacBook. The little skinny one with the one Type-C cable. USB-C charge cable replacement. Dear Apple customer, a limited number of charge cables may fail due to a design issue. I haven't had it fail. But anyway, that's nice. I got a free USB-C charge cable. Like a $10 cable. But they just mail it to you, which is nice. So if you have a MacBook, you may well get one of these. I don't know which, they don't mention which models. Just say Retina, 12-inch, early 2015. I think that's all of them, isn't it? Deborah, Santa Monica, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Deborah.
Hi. Oh, wow. I can't believe I got through.
It's a miracle.
I know, huh?
It's a geek miracle.
There you go. They happen.
They do happen.
Every once in a while, they wave that wand,
What can I do for you?
Okay, I have an AT&T Trek tablet. I believe it's an 8-inch or 8.5. And I got it free, for adding on to my mobile plan.
Wasn't free. I might point out you've been paying for it every month ever since, but okay.
Exactly, I know. But they did double my data. Okay.
Nice.
As one of their longtime customers that love me so much, they said, we're just going to give you double. And I said, oh, graciously, thank you so much. And knew that one of the primary reasons they do that is because all of the stuff you have automatically update and sent to you is sent to two places, so it doubles your use.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. But, okay. About 2 weeks ago, I tried to get through to you last week and couldn't. But in the meantime, I've been turning it on and off. I have a black screen, like the blue screen of death that you used to get with. Okay, this is the black screen of death. It powers on and off, and I get the little white square at the beginning of where and the ATT logo.
Okay.
And that goes away, and then black screen.
Nothing
shows. And I can hear the pinging and everything from all my notifications and my...
Oh, that's interesting. So the tablet's running fine. It's just the screen's not displaying.
Right. And when I power down, when I turn it off so as not to use the battery for no reason, I get the little white square right in the middle of all that black that says power down, restart, or...
Okay.
Yeah,
so I hate to say this, but what's happened is, for some reason, the brightness of the screen has been turned to 0. It's not a physical problem, or you wouldn't see anything on the screen at all. Like if the screen were broken or the cable to the screen were broken, you would see nothing at all. But you see boot up and shutdown messages. So what happens is the thing boots up, displays everything normally, and then it goes, oh, the setting for the screen brightness is 0. And so it doesn't display anything. Now, the real problem is, how do we fix that? Because you can't see to fix it.
Exactly.
It should not, by the way, do this. Most Android devices won't let you turn it lower than dim.
Exactly.
But AT&T has clearly modified it in such a way that you can actually turn this backlight off.
But I didn't do that, and I think there's a program that when I downloaded the update, it caused that to happen.
Could be.
Really. And since then, I've had some error messages with it on my mobile phone, so I'm thinking, okay, they might be doing something in writing their little program for the app that's causing problems with the display.
Couple of things you can. Here's a couple of things you can try before you bring it back to AT&T.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they've told me don't have anything to do. It's supposedly made by Alcatel. If I had known that, I wouldn't have got it, probably.
Oh, well, AT&T doesn't make it. They don't have any tablet factories.
Oh, I know. But they
should support it.
The fact even though it's under warranty, and they said what you have to do is you have to mail it out to their,
Oh, that's terrible.
I know, huh? And I said, well, why don't I just bring it in, and since it was free, you can just replace it with LG, which is free now, and you can take this back and you can send that.
There, that's a good idea.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to try it today or tomorrow.
Well, let's try to fix it first. So what you want to do is a system reset, which it won't erase anything, but it might fix this problem.
I may have tried that already, where it's a hard reboot.
Yeah, you hold the power button.
Right.
And then volume up. Oh, I think are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
So you hold the power button and the volume up, and you should be able to get into a recovery mode. If that doesn't work, power button, volume down.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those do some stuff, okay? And you could do a complete factory reset, which would absolutely fix it. But that would wipe out all your data. Is there anything on there that you don't want to lose?
No, and I've done it deliberately. I don't really need to have anything on my tablet that I need. So if I can do a total reboot and have it start all over again, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I can just have everything downloaded again from Google for my apps, and I keep no data on my mobile stuff.
Perfect. This will fix it then. So this works on. I can't guarantee this will work on your tablet because, as you can see, they modify these things. But almost all Android devices turn it all the way off. So you press and hold you've already done this. Press and hold the on-off button until it shuts all the way down, and then you're going to hold the power button and then tap the volume up button. You might have to do this a couple of times to get it to work. Eventually, though, you will get into a special screen that will give you, this is the recovery screen, that will give you a menu of options. One of the options is to reset to factory. And that's what you want to do. That'll wipe it and start over, and almost certainly everything will work the way it was supposed to. Because that's all that's happened is some program or something has modified your settings so that it's zero brightness. We know the screen's okay because you can see stuff when it boots and shuts down. It's just after it boots up, and it comes on, things are happening, but the brightness is turned all the way down because after it boots up, it says, okay, what's the brightness setting? Okay, 0.
Wow. I can't believe they let it do that. That's silly.
I've seen some Android devices that do it. It's a very silly
Especially since there's no more hard buttons, menu buttons on the bottom. They're all on the screen, which means if you can't see them, you can't do anything.
Can't do nothing.
Just silly.
You might be able to bring it out into the sunlight and still see controls. And if you can, then you could pull down the menu and do the settings and turn the brightness up. But you have to angle it just so. But if that doesn't work, just remember the power and volume up. You have that rocker for the volume.
Yeah.
Power. So turn it all the way off. Press and hold it till it goes all the way off. You might have to swipe to turn it off, or there'll be a menu that pops up that says power down.
No, it just does it automatically.
Okay. And then once you do that, you will then start over, which is to press and hold the power button. You have to hold it a little bit to turn on. At the same time, press volume up or tap volume up. If it boots up normally, turn it off and do it again. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries, but you'll get a menu. It won't look like the regular Android. It'll just be like these letters on the screen. One of the choices will be wipe data, wipe everything, reset to factory default. And that's kind of what you want. 8888 Ask Leo. Good luck. I'm glad you got through because I think you can fix this. It's a weird problem. And frankly, the AT&T store should know how to fix it. But they don't want to, right? They say, no, give it to Alcatel. You know where Alcatel is? France. Your tablet's going back to France. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls right after this. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and all that jazz. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, the phone number, 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can also visit our website, techguylabs.com. You'll find a link there to the chat room and also all the things I talk about because you don't have to write anything down. It's just all there. techguylabs.com. Yeah, that Hollywood hospital, which was hacked a couple of weeks ago, essentially was unable to operate. The hackers demanded 40 bitcoins. Not, by the way, 9,000 bitcoins as originally reported, which would have been $3.5 million. A mere $17,000. You've probably heard about this. Some of you have even been bit by it. You get an email from a long-lost relative or a Facebook post with a file attached. Oh, you won't believe. I have video of what you did last night. You won't believe it. And you go, what did I do last night? You click the link. It says, oh, you need to update your flash before you can see what you did last night. And you go, oh, that flash, it always needs updating. You click another link, goes to the flash updater site, you download it, you run it. Oops, that wasn't flash. Oops. That wasn't a wire transfer from my long-lost uncle for $5 million. Wasn't that? Nope. It was ransomware. Crypto locker, sometimes they call it. Crypto wall, I think. The idea is it's actually kind of a clever. I won't give him credit for being clever, but it is a clever ransom attack. As soon as you run that program, whether it's a phony flash updater or $1 million from your long-lost cousin, the program immediately gets to work encrypting all your documents with strong encryption, good encryption. Strong encryption cannot be cracked. You can't, you can't bring it to the FBI or Apple and say, hey, crack this. It's not crackable. And then it pops up a message that says, you have 24 hours to give us money. If you do, we'll send you the key and you can unencrypt it. If you don't, you'll never hear from us again, and you'll never hear from your data again. Oh, the Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center. We've heard of law enforcement. A police department in Vermont got bit by this. Lots of individuals, lots of businesses. Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center has been down for more than a week, or was. They called the LAPD. They called the FBI. Law enforcement attempted to discover the identity of the hackers. Oh, good luck. Oh, good luck. They're not in this country. By the way, we know that people who are doing this are making millions and millions of dollars. Network was offline. Staff was taking handwritten notes on patient data. I mean, this is actually nothing to joke about. Your emergency room systems are impacted. Everything is. It's really a strong argument for keeping critical facilities like hospitals offline in almost every respect, except for, maybe, in certain areas you need to be online. But those computers should not be connected to anything else. It's really a sad state of affairs, but there are X-ray machines that connect to the internet for updates. Public internet. Lots of stuff like that. Hospital had to use fax machines and telephones. They got kicked back into the 1980s. Registrations and medical records, paper and pen. Hospital says we paid the $17,000. That's right. They bought the Bitcoin. They paid the money. I guess they were lucky because, we've heard many stories of people who did pay, said, all right, give up, and didn't get a key, or the key they got didn't work. They didn't get their stuff back. Fortunately, in this case, they did, and they were able to restore their systems. The hospital wrote, the quickest and most efficient way to restore our systems and administrative functions was to pay the ransom and obtain the decryption key. In the best interest of restoring normal operations, we did this. I'm sure that was the advice from law enforcement. Although, time and time again, we've heard them say, don't pay these guys. You give these guys money, you're just encouraging them. Yeah, but I don't have my data. The better solution? Don't get bit in the first place. Be very careful about email attachments, running programs. Your cousin did not send you $1 million. That video of what you did last night is not a video of what you did last night. In order for these attacks to work, the hacker has to get you to run a program. Now, they're not going to, you're smart. They're not going to mail you a program that says, here's our ransomware program. Would you mind running this and encrypting your hard drive? You're not going to fall for that. So, of course, they're going to use all sorts of subterfuges to get you to run that program. So, unless you want to lose your data. By the way, a good backup, would have solved this problem. Hospital. A good security policy would have solved this problem. There's all sorts of ways to fix this. And, for the hospital, probably $17,000. That wasn't so much. For the hacker, cha-ching, they're very happy. They're often in Eastern Europe, sometimes skilled hackers, sometimes just script kiddies who found the software and distributed it. They often live in areas where they have great technical educations but no jobs. That's a recipe for disaster, isn't it? I'm sad they had to pay. I understand why they did, but unfortunately, that just means this stuff's going to go on. And it's on you not to get bit. So sad. So a good backup strategy will help. And unfortunately, if your backup strategy is I have a hard drive sitting next to the computer and it's automatically syncing with the computer, it will sync the encryption. So you have to have versioning. What you're looking for is versioning, the ability to go back in time to a previous version of a file. In other words, the one that's not scrambled. And if your backup solution doesn't offer that, you need to find one that does. And if you're a business, you need to educate your employees on spear phishing attacks and phishing attacks. Those are emails that purport to be something other than they are. Oh, we just got a wire from your bank. You need to run this program. You double-click it. Oh, what a shame. All that data gone. You need to keep your systems up to date, and anything that goes online needs to keep up to date. Your Flash, if you use Flash still, your PDF reader, Adobe Reader, many, many exploits. Got to keep that up to date. Your browser, of course, must be kept up to date. The good news is all the modern browsers update themselves automatically. And you got to keep your operating system up to date. And you just have to be alert and aware. It's not that hard. Just be very careful. Now, I almost got bit the other day. I got a text message. We found your, from Apple. We found your iPhone. My son had lost his iPhone in Spain. I thought, oh, great, they found it. Click the link in the text message. That was dumb, Leo. But even I could fall for that. Not noticing that it wasn't apple.com, it was apple.al. That's Albania, folks. Apple Albania did not send me a text message. I got a page that looked just like my iCloud page. Log on to your iCloud right now. I started and then I realized, whoa. What is that? Apple.al. That close. And I'm the tech guy, so I'm sympathetic, but eternal vigilance. Your call's coming up right after this. Our show today brought to you by Audible. Oh, they haven't advertised on the podcast before. I'm so happy. I've been an Audible fan since the year 2000. That's when I got my first Audible book. Audio books. Oh, man, they have 180,000 titles. All the big bestsellers come out. If you go to audiblepodcast.com/techguy, you can get your first book free. So if you're thinking, I don't know, are audiobooks for me? Please do yourself a favor. Go to audible.com. Well, let me log in because I can show you I think it's like 500 books I have in my Audible library. That's one thing I love about Audible. You bought these books. Let me just get my two-step. I have two-step authentication on it. By the way, that's something else everybody should turn on. And I'm really glad that Amazon started offering it because Audible is an Amazon company. When I log into my Audible account, it says, okay, you got your two-factor? Yes, I do. There we go, and there we go. So here's the deal on Audible. You're going to get a gold account when you go to audiblepodcast.com/techguy. That's the book a month subscription, plus the daily digest of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. So many amazing books to choose from. Bestsellers now, when they come out audio as well as print immediately, and that's nice. So you can, if you're an Audible listener, you get access to the same, it's like a giant bookstore. I'm really excited about this one. This just came out. Leonard, my 50-year friendship with a remarkable man. William Shatner wrote it and reads it, which is pretty awesome.
Many wonderfully talented people who never got the right opportunity. Often, it's simply a matter of being in the right place at the right time.
I love showbiz biographies. I listen to a lot of them because I don't know. It's kind of fun to live these people's lives. Here's Burt Reynolds. But enough about me, a memoir. He reads it.
Number 2 car. But Burt waits.
Oh, wait a minute. This is another narrator?
I'm wondering what the hell's going on.
Who's this?
When he finally takes off...
I guess sometimes, the foreword's read by somebody else. But he says narrated by Burt Reynolds. So many great books here. The hardest thing is going to be to pick which book. Are you interested in technology? Elon Musk. This is a great one. Ashley Vance wrote this. We interviewed him. Great reader, too. Fred Sanders. Audible has great readers. They get them from Broadway actors, people who really bring a book to life. It's like listening to a movie. Richard Armitage narrating David Copperfield. That's got to be awesome. They've got a lot of the classics.
Hillocks of sand and went past gasworks, rope walks, boat builders' yards, shipwrights' yards, ship breakers' yards, caulkers' yards, riggers' lofts, Smith's
How about
Forges.
Scarlett Johansson reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? That would be great for the whole family, wouldn't it? Here's the deal. Go to audiblepodcast.com/techguy, and you're going to get that book subscription, the book-a-month subscription, and the Daily Digest, the New York Times, or the Wall Street Journal. And you pay nothing for the first month. Cancel in that first 30 days. You keep the book and pay nothing. I think you're going to want to stick around. Oh, Harper Lee just passed To Kill a Mockingbird. That'd be a great one. Sissy Spacek narrates that. audiblepodcast.com/techguy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Ian, very patiently waiting on the line. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I have something to tell you.
Are
I
you
am
my?
not 9.
Oh, you're not
I am
9.
11.
You're 11. Okay. We that was a typo. I apologize.
So, I have a question, or 2 questions for you, actually. One is, do you think I should build a computer or buy a MacBook?
Buy a MacBook. So, or a Chromebook. I thought you were interested in Chromebooks.
No, that's for my sister.
Building for your sister. Building is fun. Does mom or dad know anything about it? And would they help you?
No.
So the problem with building a computer, I think it's a great learning experience. It really is fun. But the problem with building it is if something goes wrong, who are you going to call? So you buy it from a company, you call Dell. You buy it from Dell, you call Dell if it doesn't work. If you build it yourself, well, what went wrong? Who's responsible? And it's easy enough to blame, a company for that when it's one company. But when it's, 10 different companies and you call them and it's not booting, and you call the motherboard company and say, well, that's not our fault. Maybe it's the chip. Oh, you call Intel, it's not booting. They go, we don't have service support. What are you talking about? So do you want to do that? No. You will learn. I mean, there's a lot to learn that way, but it's not, I have a feeling it's not something that would be profitable for you. And by the way, the only way to do this is to run Windows or Linux. You said MacBook. Now that runs Mac. What operating system are you interested in?
Well, I'm interested in an operating system for gaming. So
then you do want Windows. Yeah, Mac is not good for gaming. Well, I mean, it depends on the games. If it's just Minecraft, everybody can play that. What game do you want to play?
City Skylines.
Is that available on the Mac?
It is.
Oh, good news. Yeah, Steam is on the Mac, and so a lot of games are what we call ported so that they'll run on the Mac. But the newest hot games are all, generally written for consoles and Windows first. And then a couple of years later, they come out for the Mac, if they do. So, good. So the game you want to play is available on the Mac. I'll tell you why I like a Mac for home use. My rule of thumb used to be Windows for business, Macintosh for home. And the reason is you don't have to worry about malware. For instance, there's no crypto locker. That ransomware I just talked about? You don't have to worry about it on the Mac. There is none for the Mac. And there probably never will be for a variety of reasons. Macintosh does give you access to Unix because it's BSD under the hood. That means you'll have the Unix command line. As you get older and you say, I want to write Python scripts, it's a lot easier to do that stuff on a Mac than on Windows. Comes with Python, comes with Ruby, comes with Perl, and it's easy to add more. It's also, wouldn't say it's easier to use, especially for you. You're going to be comfortable with whatever you get, right?
Yes.
Truthfully, a Chromebook is a great choice for students because it's much less expensive. Macs are very expensive. It is Unix also under the hood, and it's very robust, and it's the most secure of the three, Chromebook versus Windows and Mac. But I think for you, if you can afford a MacBook and your game that you want is on there, and you're going to use it for school, maybe not this year. Are you in 6th grade, 5th grade?
I'm in 6th.
6th. So next year, as you get into junior high, you're going to need a computer probably. Do you know the school that you're going to go to or going to, do they have a computer program? Some schools will give you a Chromebook or an iPad or something like that.
Well, I'm actually homeschooled.
Oh, you're homeschooled. All right. Well, that becomes part of the issue too then. So you should talk to mom and dad. They're paying for this? Or did you have a paper route for the last 10 years?
Say that again, please.
Or is grandma paying for it? Where's the money coming from?
Well, we actually are with Inspired Charter School, located in
Oh, that's
Doherty.
neat. That's great. Yeah.
So they pay for 6 classes at one of our favorite places. It's
You're breaking. Are you on Skype?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you're breaking up. You're getting that Skype. So I would check with them, see what the curriculum comes on. If it's available on Macintosh, I think a Macintosh is the best choice all around. For making music, for video editing, you'd just be better off. It'll get you through high school. If you get a MacBook now, it'll get you through high school, which is something to be said for that. It'd probably get you into college. Both my kids are in college. I have Macs. Chromebook's not good for gaming. That's one of the reasons I like it for schools, by the way. You can't play Minecraft on it, so you don't have to worry about the kids sitting there pretending to listen while they're playing Minecraft. I would say building would be great because you would learn a lot. But one of the things you would learn is what to do when it doesn't work. And it isn't going to save you money necessarily. People think they save money by building. They don't, because when you buy a computer from a company that buys 1,000 of that part, they're going to get a better deal on that part than you are buying one. If you do build a computer, go to Newegg and buy what they call a bare bones system. At least Newegg will give you support on that. And that means the motherboard, the case, the chip, and then you can add parts to that afterwards. I think for a student, a MacBook is probably the right thing to do. 8888 Ask Leo. Shane is in Costa Mesa, California. Hi, Shane.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So my question for you is, I'm a private investigator. I do insurance fraud investigations. And when we're videotaping subjects, when we go to court, they want the video to be edited and to have the date and time stamp on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, we have to take our HD video and run it through an Elgato box.
They let you do that? They don't want the timestamp put on there by the camera?
Well, the metadata in the file has the timestamp.
So you're just making that appear visibly?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, when it's being shown in court, they want that.
Yeah, of course they do. It's all about chain of custody. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only way that we know of right now is to run it through Elgato.
Some camcorders allow you to burn that into the video as you're shooting it. I guess the ones you're using do not.
Do you know of any that actually do, that are
Is that really?
or anything like that?
Is that something? Yeah, my old one did. In fact, we used to get calls all the time from people saying, "How do I get this to stop? I see the time and date on my video." And we'd have to say, "Well, you go in the menu, and you look. Maybe they've taken that out for that reason."
Because, when you're playing it back on the LCD screen, you can see it. But if you upload it to your computer,
right.
It's no longer there.
Right. So usually that is a setting in the menu of your camcorder. What kind of camcorders do you use?
Most of us are using Sony's.
Yeah.
I'm using I have it right in front of me.
Oh, F and Dunn's. My producer, former videographer for the LA Police Department, and he's in the chat room right now.
Oh, nice.
He says, if you record on mini DV, the date timestamp can be turned on and off through the output.
No, we don't record on mini DV anymore.
Ah.
Everything's digital.
It's all solid state. Tell you what, keep listening. I'm going to get on the line with F and Dunn, and we're going to find out. Jason Cleanthus was the LAPD videographer for years. He knows how. Thanks for the call. Leo Laporte, I'll keep listening. The Tech Guy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Boy, I just looked on Google, and there's like 8 million videos. How to keep the timestamp on your video camcorder. But the problem is I think it really varies depending on make, model, year, and all of that. Jason, who is my producer and, as I said, former videographer for the LAPD, of course, he did that some time ago. Times might have changed, but he said if you can see it on the camera, there will be an output from the camera that includes the graphics on the screen, the date and time. So, I think it is possible. I wouldn't put it past companies. They often take out features that people turn on by accident because they don't want support calls. So I wouldn't put it past Sony for saying, it's costing us so much money in support calls from people who say, my kid birthday video has date and time stamped all over it. How do I get rid of that? I don't want it. They just say, take the feature out. The other reason they might do that is it might see that as an opportunity to sell a professional version with the feature built in, special PI version of our camcorder. So I just don't know. But we will find an answer. Before long, an answer will appear. It does. It always does in this show. It's because we got this great audience. Ginger is on the line from Anaheim. Hi, Ginger.
Here I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep you on hold so long, and then people walk away, and I apologize. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Yes, I'd like to buy a smartphone. I've never had a smartphone.
How exciting.
I know. I need one. So many people want to send me something by text, and I'm not able to do that with my little flip phone. So I have a Samsung flip phone. Had it for 3 years, and before that I had the Sanyo, it says SCP-40.
Doesn't matter. Your world is about to... We're going to rock your world.
Good. All right. I need it.
So who's your carrier?
Sprint. I'm also thinking of maybe changing to Verizon. From what I've been checking on the Internet, it seems like maybe I'd get a better...
It really depends.
With Verizon.
It really depends on your neck of the woods. You know, Verizon has those ads with the bowling balls. And, you know, what they're saying is not untrue, but it's a nationwide thing. Nobody calls and nationwide unless you're a truck driver. What you care about is how is it in my house? How is it at work? And how is it everywhere in between? That's what matters. And that varies wildly from place to place. Sprint typically is not, you know, nationwide is not good because they made a bad bet many years ago on LTE. They said, oh, LTE is not going anywhere. We're going to do WiMAX. It's hard for me to even say it without laughing. It was such a bad bet. They fell way behind. But you know what? In some ways, it's good to be way behind because then when you finally do upgrade, you upgrade to a higher level. So they're starting to put LTE Plus in, which is going to be better than the competitors' stuff if they can get it in enough places fast enough. So you may be lucky enough to be in an LTE Plus market, in which case you'd be getting better and faster service than anybody.
Well, that'd be great. I've noticed on some trips that I take, I didn't have phone service, and yet others with smartphone did, even though we both had Sprint as our carrier.
Well, and that may also be part of it, is that a smartphone might have a better antenna. There might be all sorts of reasons for that. So, yeah, you should choose your carrier because this is an opportunity at this point to, you know, get some perks from switching.
Okay.
Like maybe a discount on the phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you figure out which carrier is best, you know, and there's different ways to do that. Certainly asking friends and neighbors and family that are in the same area. Well, what do you use? How do you like it? There are some services that mix Sprint and T-Mobile together. I use a service from Google. It's their own telephone service called Google Fi, F-I. And I like it because it uses whatever is the best, Sprint, T-Mobile, or Wi-Fi. It's also very affordable, but you have to get an invitation.
Ooh, how do I get an invitation?
Well, go to fi.google.com and you can give them your email address. And, you know, they may be rolling it out fast. You also have to, it limits the phones you can use. You have to use a phone from Google. So that may not be, truthfully, when somebody is getting their first smartphone, I usually just say get an iPhone.
Oh, you think? And I wanted to stay away from iPhone for so many reasons, but also I don't think I'd be using all the apps. So that was going to be my question. What phone should I buy?
You'll be using the apps.
You think so?
Yeah. You just don't know yet.
Maybe so.
Suddenly you'll say, oh, wow, I just got this app that I can order a pizza. Oh, wow, I just got this app that a car will come to me when I press a button. Oh, I just got this app. I mean, it doesn't take long before you discover Candy Crush Saga and Instagram and Facebook. And
I'm a no-frills type of person.
Oh, well.
Really, I don't think I would use all that.
I know. You don't have a smartphone. That's pretty no-frills.
That's true. Well, GPS for sure, it would be nice to have.
GPS is huge.
Yeah.
And even though every phone comes with a map application, you can download others. Google's maps are available on iPhone as well as the company they own called Waze. And there are times you want to use Waze, times you want to use the Google Maps, times you might want to use Apple Maps. So you'll be surprised at how quickly you will get into the app economy.
So if I go with an iPhone, you think then just get the latest one, the latest one that's out there? And
Not necessarily. For instance, if you stay with Sprint, and I think this is true of all carriers, you'll be able to go in there and say, you can either get the latest one, which is quite expensive. Of course, they'll spread the payments out.
Yeah.
Or you can get last year's model or the model the year before for less. And I was just actually in a Sprint store yesterday, and I saw somebody buying an iPhone 5S, I think. And that's 2 years old, and I'm sure it was a lot less expensive. And for you, it'd be great.
Right, because everything would be so new.
Anything you get is going to be light years ahead of what you've been using.
Right. Oh, right, definitely.
So I think, I love Android. I think Android is most popular among people who are frills people, who want to mess with their stuff and customize it and make it just their own and all of that stuff. And iPhone is really in some ways, much simpler.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think an iPhone is also a no-brainer because everybody you know has an iPhone, I bet.
Yeah, it's true. I get a lot of emails on my desk computer, and it always says at the bottom, sent from my iPhone.
Right. And by the way, those are unsophisticated people who haven't changed that. So you know that you have a lot of friends who are like you, new to the iPhone.
I guess what I do when I type back, when I send anything on the bottom, I've typed in sent from my desk computer. Can't text and can't receive your messages when I'm out and about.
There you go, because you know how to customize your signature. Apparently, your friends haven't figured that part out yet.
All right. Well,
so in general, if you go first, choose the carrier.
Okay.
All of them offer iPhones, and then get the cheapest iPhone that you can get. In some cases, you'll get a iPhone 5S for free. In some cases, $150 out the door.
Oh wow. Okay.
Great price, right? And you don't. Who cares? It was 2 years ago.
No, that won't matter.
You don't know the difference. You're still living in the 80s.
Okay.
No, I'm teasing you.
No, but in many ways, I think this is true. I still have plugged the TV in and use it. I get the digital.
What? Are you crazy? Whoa, you're ruining our economy. Get out there and spend.
I guess I should.
No, I'm just teasing.
Okay, so I'll check with Sprint first since that's my carrier now.
And as long as you've been happy with it and you haven't had a problem. Now, you haven't used their data, so you don't know how data is. You've only used it as a phone service. So
data meaning
data is separate. Right? It's a separate channel than the phone channel. Actually, that's changing also. Pretty soon, it's all going to be data. But on your older phone, it's not the same.
Do you think I should hold off then?
No. There's no. You know what? And I should warn you, next month, Apple will announce a new iPhone, and you'll go, wait a minute, Leo should have told me about that.
Well, I'll wait till 2 months down the road to see.
Okay, wait 2 months.
Waited this long,
and meantime, do your homework and see who has the best service in your neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great to talk to you. Yeah, for new users, in fact, for most users, the iPhone is the no-brainer. It's true. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That is the phone number if you want to talk high-tech. I want to talk high-tech with you. Kevin is in Alhambra, California. Hi, Kevin.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, hey. What can I do for you?
So I have a question because I have a Sabertooth Z77 Asus motherboard, and then recently I just noticed that my computer won't start when it's working dual-channel RAM.
Well, there you go. And that's a very good diagnostic you just did. So you put some different RAM in and it worked?
Yeah, so I took out all the RAM. I was like, all right, is it just one RAM? Well, let's start with one piece of RAM, and it did.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then I tried it in dual channel in the A1, B1 slots, and then it wouldn't work. And
do you have the manual for that motherboard? Because it'll tell you how to do RAM. Sometimes you have to add RAM in pairs. And they had to be matched pairs. I think that those days are gone. How old is the motherboard?
About 4, almost 5 years.
It might be that you need to add it in pairs. But so you don't have the manual?
I do have the manual. And it did say, like, if you're running dual channel, then you'd add in A1,
pairs.
B1.
Right.
But now it won't work. It will only start if I put it in A1, A2.
Well, a couple of possibilities. One, you may have a bad slot. That happens.
If that's the case, should I get a new motherboard?
Yeah, maybe.
I know there's a new system.
Your system is so old. Now, with the new motherboard, you're going to get a new processor.
I know.
And with a new, by the way, we call this the upgrade cascade, Because it all starts, oh, I need new RAM, and then, oh, I need a new motherboard, oh, I need a new CPU. Well, if I need a new CPU, I'm going to get a new motherboard. I know I need new hard drives, and by the time you've done it, you've built a whole new computer. But you probably keep the case.
Oh, yeah.
But you may need to upgrade the power supply, so you might as well get a new case, too.
Yeah, I was disappointed seeing that everything's DDR4 now, and I'm like, oh, and that means I have to get a new CPU, new MOBO.
Yeah. But, you'll benefit. I mean, it'll all be a lot faster. On the other hand, is that 5-year-old system too slow for you? Probably not.
Fine right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
something happened about 4 or 5 years ago. They got so fast that they were fast enough. And there really wasn't one of the reasons, the main reason I think the PC market is tanking is nobody needs to upgrade. It's fast enough. What do you need more than 2 gigahertz for?
No one needs
No one needs more than 640K of RAM. No, but by the time you get to like 8 gigs of RAM and a 2 or 3 gigahertz processor, that's so freaking fast. I mean, the bigger upgrade would be to put in a solid state drive, speed up your I/O, things like that.
Oh yeah, I have those already.
Yeah, see, you probably have if you built a whole new machine, it would not be you would not notice the difference in speed, but it would work.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason to do it. But the minute you upgrade the motherboard, that triggers the upgrade cascade. There's no way around it. Because you don't want to use the old stuff. Well, the SSDs would be fine. In fact, you would notice a benefit in the SSD because you get a SATA 3 bus. Your SSDs probably are faster than the disk bus in that old motherboard. So if you got a new motherboard and use the same solid state drives, you would notice an improvement in performance because the drives would be the motherboard would finally keep up with the drives.
Mm-hmm.
You get all this, right? You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a great diagnostic, though, that you did to figure out what was going on. I mean, usually people would call up and say, my thing's not working right. And we have to walk them through the idea, well, you might want to move the RAM around and try one stick. That was smart. So, the chat room is saying the memory will still work, just not in dual channel. Your definitive source on this is your motherboard manual. That tells you exactly what you need to do. And if one of the slots that they say you should use this slot and it doesn't seem to be working, well then slots can go bad. The contacts might just be dirty. I might clean the contacts. It's all sorts of stuff. Eric, Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, thanks, Leo. Appreciate you being there.
My pleasure.
Yeah, this is a low-tech question, naturally. I live in I live on a property with a back house. There's a main house, and when I moved in, there was free Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi in my place is very weak. It's 1.5 bars. I just can't do anything with it. I go out the door, it just goes up to 3 bars. It's good. Wi-Fi antenna, I've been looking. This is a world very confusing. Repeaters.
No kidding.
And
so the access point is in the main house.
Yeah.
And do you have access to the access point?
Good question. That's what I was going to say. There's no access to the router button or the router.
Okay, because not normally what you want to do is put better antennas on both ends.
Right.
If you don't have access to the router, you can't really add a repeater because that requires modification. Well, may not, actually. Come to think of it. If you have a password for the router, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You don't have to modify the router to use a repeater. You just need to be able to give that password to the repeater. But the repeater generally wants to be halfway between the access point and you, right? Otherwise, it's got as weak a signal as you do. So a repeater isn't going to help you if you can't get good signal in your house, unless you could put it somewhere in between.
Well, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, it's like that's the backyard, right?
You're right. What would be the negative on a USB antenna? And
that would help. That would help. But and then one of the advantages of the USB antenna is it's external to your case and you can position it.
Right.
And so it's radio frequency. Radio frequency is a black art. Moving things around can make a huge difference because you've got not only do you have line of sight, but you've got reflections. And so it's a very chaotic environment. That signal is bouncing all around. There's probably a perfect place you could put that antenna. You're not going to put your laptop there. I'm not going to compute with my laptop over my head, but it might be that's exactly where it needs to get the best signal. So, yes, an external USB Now, you won't be buying probably just the antenna. In order to do that, you'd have to modify the Wi-Fi card in your laptop and probably drill holes. What you'll be doing is replacing the Wi-Fi card in your laptop with a USB Wi-Fi adapter that happens to be external that you can position.
Right. Question on that. I can get a USB antenna, that stays in the house, and I can direct it. What about an external outdoor one, waterproof style USB antenna that I could position on would that be better? And
no. Don't. I don't think so. Because now you got a long run of coax. That's going to degrade the signal. Mm-hmm. It's going to just be a pain in the butt. I mean, I wouldn't do that first. Let's put it that way. What I would do is, they're cheap. Get an external USB Wi-Fi connector. You'll be disabling the one in your computer and using that instead. And if you start with a short cable, but you might end up getting an extender, a USB extender, so you can position it. And I bet you could find a spot that's going to work a lot better. That doesn't improve Wi-Fi access throughout your house. It just is to that one computer. If you wanted it throughout your house, then you're going to get an external antenna, an amplifier, and that's going to be a lot more complicated. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, can I tell you about PillPack actually before we go on? I should really. This is cool. So, PillPack is an online pharmacy. Okay, that by itself doesn't say much. But here's their secret sauce. You go there, you transfer your prescriptions over. They take all forms of insurance. In fact, there's no extra cost beyond the standard copay. The shipping does not cost you. It's free. Works with most insurance plans, including most forms of Medicare Part D. And of course, when you sign up, they'll make sure that it is covered by insurance. There's a couple of things. First of all, pharmacists on call 24/7, so you can talk to them on the phone anytime. What they'll do is they'll package your subscriptions up in these great boxes. And you see on the back of the box my name, the date, a picture, an image of each pill, what it is, the dose, who prescribed it, all the information you need. But this is the best part. And then the medications come in these tear-off plastic pouches. So and on the pouch is printed the day, the date, the time, exactly what's in there. So oh yeah, did I take my 8 a.m. Pills? Yes, because that pouch is gone. Great for travel too, by the way, because you just tear off what you need and you bring it with you. And also more accurate because they use robotics to package these with image recognition. So the robot puts the packages together with just the right prescription, and then a human pharmacist checks it. So you're getting exactly what was prescribed. It's good for vitamins too. A lot of people use it for vitamins. If you're tired of the old, putting it in the pill minder, pillpack.com/twit. And what we're going to do, if you go there and you transfer your prescriptions over, we're going to give you a $20 credit towards vitamins and over-the-counter medications. Pillpack.com/twit. It is such a cool idea. It's basically how the internet is reinventing everything. They're reinventing how prescription medication is delivered. Pillpack.com/twit. It's so smart. And yes, you can use it for other things like inhalers and everything. Stuff that doesn't fit in the little pouch, of course. They'll supply that too because they're a full-service pharmacy. It's medication simplified. You won't believe how much easier and more convenient it is until you've tried it. Pillpack.com/twit. Site's beautiful. Takes about 5 minutes to sign up. And you'll get a $20 credit for vitamins or over-the-counter medications when you transfer your prescriptions over. PillPack. Love them. Love them. Great idea. Well, hey, how are you today? Good to see you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. We're going to talk about computers now and the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that stuff with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is my number if you want to call and ask a question, make a comment, make a suggestion, answer a previous question, all of that. 8888 Ask Leo. We also have a website, techguylabs.com, and all the stuff I talk about, every product, every news story, it's all linked there, and you can even get audio and video for the show after the fact. techguylabs.com. I'm wondering if anybody, I just got this at home. Somebody sent me an email saying, my wife and I take a lot of pictures on our smartphones on our digital cameras. They're on our computer. They're all over. But I want a centralized storage system to back them up. And, of course, I tell everybody you should, Google Photos is a great, great product. You should absolutely use it. It will back up from all your devices. Unlimited free storage if you don't mind that they squeeze the file down a little bit. Not noticeably so. But it's you can put millions of photos up there, and they have incredible search features. So you could search by person's face, but also by location. A lot of artificial intelligence. So I do recommend that. But a lot of people want a local drive that's storing everything. And I found this as I did research on this question. I went and I looked around, and Seagate has a company called Lyve, Lyve. It's right now, it was $150 on Amazon for 2 terabytes. It's a 2 terabyte network attached drive, really. But they've made it very simple. You create a Lyve account, and then wherever you go, your phone will upload to your Lyve drive. Your computers can run software that uploads. It will download, just like Apple Photos will do, suitable size copies of photos to your computer or your phone so that all your pictures are available everywhere, but there's a backup of the original on this 2 terabyte drive in your house. So I literally just got it this morning, so I can't give you a review, but I'm curious if anybody else has tried it, and I think it's a really interesting idea, especially since it's selling on Amazon for half the list price. Seagate wants $299 for it on their website, but if you go to the Amazon site and look up Lyve Home, it's $150, which is a pretty darn good deal. So this isn't a review yet because although I'm pretty impressed with the basics, but I will. I'll let you know. It's kind of fun because this has a little iPhone-sized screen on the front of it. And you can use it like as a photo clock. It's puts a clock up, and as you upload pictures, they show up there kind of in random order. So that's kind of cool. Very interesting product. Yeah, I see that Seagate's selling it directly. That's interesting. They sell 2 different units on the Amazon. One's more expensive than the other, but they look the same. So I'm not sure. The one I got was the $150 one. Anybody using it? We can talk about that too. I love your recommendations. People call and spend my money just as much as I spend yours. Speaking of spending money, Ellie's on the line from Hawaii. I got that blue remote you recommended.
Oh, the Blue Moo?
The Blue Moo, BLUMOO.
Yeah, I love it.
You love it. It's a universal remote. It has the problem all universal remotes have for me, and one of the reasons I don't use universal remotes, my TV is a toggle, right? You press the power button, it either turns it off if it's on or on if it's off. And that's the same problem with all universal remotes. They don't know what the state of the television is.
Right.
So you can't really use it unless you turn everything off first and then you press the button and then everything turns on. But if it's on, it will turn it off. And that's not what I wanted.
I turn it on from other places in the house. So
it's a really interesting solution. And it's $100 plus the free iPhone app is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and then you could set up macros too.
Yeah, I really like it. It reminds me a little bit of Logitech's Harmony line of remote controls. Very similar, but I have the same problem with it. And I don't, maybe TV makers should make a television set that the button there's an on button and an off button. That would simplify things for me. Because
it's getting more complicated for people who have no vision at all. They can't tell if the TV's.
I don't know how you know what's going on.
I have friends. They say I can't see anything. I have no vision, so I don't know if my cable box is off.
Yeah, the little red light you can't tell.
And I can't tell in the daytime because it's too light in the room.
Right. So I don't, I understand that's a real problem. But I kind of have the same problem because the remote doesn't know either.
Right.
So it turns it off when I wanted to turn it on because it's just saying, well, I'll just do the opposite of whatever is going on right now.
Right. I wish there was a way you could make it distinguish itself.
Yeah, I know. So tell me, dear, what can I do for you?
Well. I have a problem with the Apple Watch.
Uh-oh. Now, you liked the Apple Watch, didn't you?
Yeah, I like it, but I have a problem with the sensors on the bottom.
Yeah.
It irritates my skin. And I was told that you can buy skins from websites, and I don't know where to go, what type of skin to get, because it will cover the bottom as well as the top. And
So all of the cases, the skins, etc., are designed so that the sensors on the bottom still work, or that would be dopey.
Right.
So we bought one because I don't know why, but Lisa decided to give our 13-year-old an Apple Watch. I think that was nutty, but he's actually, you know what? The kid loves it, and he never broke or lost his iPhone after a year. So we thought, okay, he wants an Apple Watch, we'll get him one. But I did kind of insist on a protective case for it. And we found one. I wish I could remember the brand, but I found one. Wasn't very expensive. Plastic. It's a plastic case, covers the top, the bottom completely, even the buttons. And it's got translucent stuff on the bottom that lets the sensors continue to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I could remember.
I don't know where
the
to go to look. And I figured Leo will know.
I do know. I just can't remember. You ever have that happen to you?
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Okay, let me just see if I can. If I see the name, Apple Watch cases. I'm gonna look on Amazon and see because if I see the name or at least the packaging, I think I'll kind of remember it. Spigen, which makes cases for iPhones and laptops, makes excellent cases. They do have for $13.99 an Apple Watch case, and I would be pretty shocked if it did not do everything. You really don't want to put it in a case that will prevent the heart rate monitor and everything from working.
Right. Otherwise, what's
the point? I agree. So I can recommend Spigen because they're just good. This was not what we got. For whatever reason. But I'm looking on Amazon. There's a lot of, looks like there's a lot of choices.
The thing is, I don't know what's good, what's not good,
Yeah, you can trust Yeah, I'm looking at the Spigen. Or is it Spigen or Spigen? Is it GIF or GIF? I don't know. SPIGEN. And this is it's called the Rugged Armor case, which is shock resistant. And now in this case, it's not like the one we got Michael because it doesn't cover the buttons. It still has access to the buttons. And it has a translucent thing on the back that lets the sensor work. So you're not going to lose sensor capability. It will protect you against dings, is that, I presume that's what you're looking to do, not get scratches and dings on it, right?
Well, I'm really looking more for the bottom because of my allergy.
You want to okay. I think the one we got, let me look. Oh, man. Oh, I don't remember. What was it? What was the name? I don't, because these case companies, they're all commoditized. Maybe it was this. I think it was. It was at the iBlason, IBLASON, maybe.
That sounds like a neat name.
We've looked at so many of them. Tell you what, Ellie, keep listening. If I can, I'll look during the break and see if I can find it. But what the one we got worked fine. Everything worked. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Thanks to Nathan Staten, our music director, for spinning the discs. Back to the phones we go, and is it Micheline in Studio City? Did I get that right? Michelle?
Micheline.
Micheline, comment ça va?
Très bien, Leo, the second man, the other man in my life.
Oh, now I'm in love. I love the French accent. It is so beautiful. What can I do for you, Micheline?
So, Leo, I have, before anything, I have to tell you, I do have Carbonite.com.
Good.
So that protects me, I know.
Good.
A tech guy came one time for my computer and...
Wait a minute, you've been seeing another tech guy?
Oh, he's the only one who would come.
You French women are so fickle. I'm just teasing. Good, so you have somebody who comes over and helps.
So he does. And he put for me, he subscribed to me for a service with iCloud.
iCloud, yes.
Or whatever.
Yes, because you're an Apple user.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
I have an iPhone 6 Plus.
Okay.
I decided that I really, their billing is crazy. You got my husband's purchases on my personal card. It was so crazy. I decided to stop it.
Good.
Which in itself was impossible. I had to call American Express to ask them to block their charging me. You can never get a hold of them.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And so finally I got rid of it. And now all of a sudden I get, every time I use my phone just about, this forbidding
I know. It's terrible.
storage. And I'm thinking,
Oh, you're not on iCloud. How could you? You've failed us. So Apple is really bad about that. In fact, it's one of my real complaints about the iPhone is you have to give it your password all the time, and they have a fingerprint reader.
Right.
They shouldn't need that.
That's right.
So you can set up an unpaid. You do want an Apple account. You just don't have to pay for it.
I don't want to be forced every month, because you know what happened? 1 month it's 99 cents, another one it's $1.99, another one time it's $4.99, and I have no clue what it's for.
I know.
So what I was wondering is, what did we do before we had that?
Carbonite. So iCloud is Apple's, you know what, there's some good benefits to it because it's so tightly integrated into the iPhone and Macintosh. For a lot of Apple users, it's just a sensible, simple thing to do. You do get, I can't remember if it's 2 gigabytes or 5 gigabytes. I think it's 5 gigabytes for free. For most people, that's enough. And so because that is your Apple account, you do need that. You should have an Apple account on an iPhone. There are lots of reasons why Apple wants you to. One of the reasons is if your phone is stolen, nobody can use it without your Apple password, your iCloud password.
Right.
And so that's really cut way back on iPhone theft, which was quite a problem. So that's a good security feature, is that requiring that password, and that's why they ask for it a lot.
Right.
You don't have to pay for it, and it isn't the best backup solution out there. It's a convenient one for photos and for your system because it just works out of the box. You just check a box and it says, "Okay, I'll back up."
Right.
But my iPad complains constantly. Says, "You haven't backed up to iCloud in 3 weeks. What's wrong with you? Don't you like me anymore?" And I don't choose to use it. Sorry. And so that's annoying, and Apple should knock it off. But on the other hand, you do really want an iCloud account. You want an Apple account to use. In fact, you probably have to have one to use an Apple system.
I see. Now, earlier you were saying that the Google Photos is the absolute best and easy. So wouldn't that be enough?
It is.
Do have that.
It is enough. You don't have to use Apple Photos. I choose not to because it's not been reliable on my desktop. It's been fine on the phone, but I have not found it to be reliable on the desktop, so I don't use it. I use Adobe Lightroom and the Creative Cloud and so forth. So there are other choices. The nice thing about Google, absolutely free for every picture you take. And it does wonderful searching and sorting automatically. You can say, for instance, this is what I look like. This is what Monsieur Michelin looks like. And it will automatically find all the pictures with you and him in it. It works for your kids, too, even if they're different ages. It just finds it. And it's so nice. And I have, I can say I want pictures that I've taken in my library of Paris in the snow, and it will find them.
Oh, really?
Because it's smart about snow in Paris. So that's kind of neat.
So you type that in too when you're in...
Yeah, there's a search button. You click the magnifying glass, and you can do searches. You could search for animals. You can search for cathedrals. Oh. Now, it's not perfect. Sometimes it thinks a library is a cathedral, but hey, it's a computer. Sometimes libraries look like cathedrals. So it's not perfect, but boy, it's sure a help, and you don't have to do anything extra. So unlimited free backup and storage, a really nice categorization system. I use it too. It's not the only thing I use, but you might as well. Google has killed Picasa or is about to kill Picasa and Picasa Web. They're free apps that do this, but that's because their cloud service does such a good job. You need an iCloud account. You need an Apple account. I would keep one and make one and use it, and use the 5 gigabytes because that's free. But
Right.
but you don't need to rely on it for everything. And you can use Google Photos. There's other choices. Amazon Prime also offers unlimited photo
Oh,
storage.
yeah, I have Amazon, and
Yeah.
that's also. That's
Yeah, they also have Amazon Photos. Download that, and you'll see it will back up everything.
It does.
Yeah, and Facebook will, and everybody will. So you shouldn't ever lose a photo again. There'd be no excuse for that. But it doesn't back up the rest of your stuff.
Right.
Now, for that, you simply connect to a computer, and iTunes will do that.
Aha, right.
And that's fast. And I prefer to use that, and I don't use iCloud for backup.
You don't, eh?
No. And you should go in your iCloud settings and make sure all of that's turned off. Some of the reason it's bugging you might be that it's turned on still.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
I should turn off? What is it that I should turn off?
So there's a word, there's an icon called Settings.
Yes.
You click that, and then in that list of settings, there's one called iCloud. And you'll see on it that there are little check boxes next to a variety of things. iCloud Drive, turn that off. iCloud Photos, if you don't use that, turn it off. You probably do want to continue to use it for contacts, calendars, and reminders. 5 gigabytes is plenty for that. You may want to use it for Safari. That means it will remember your bookmarks and your passwords. I use it for Keychain because I use a Macintosh that remembers my passwords, and Find My iPhone. That's very valuable. But none of that should take up too much space. 5 gigabytes are plenty for those. It's when you use Photos, iCloud Drive, and Mail that you can start to really use the storage, and you probably don't want to do that. Backup should also turn off backup. It won't bug you anymore.
I see.
Yep.
But I don't know what to do about the fact that it tells me when I went into the storage to find out that I had 5 gigabytes completely of photos.
Yeah, delete it. There's a button to delete everything and start over and back it up somewhere else. That's why it got filled up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, if you need a little hand-holding through the iCloud maze, that's what I'm here for. Ron on the line from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Ron.
Hey, Leo. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, still suffering the Super Bowl loss, but hanging in there.
Oh, now, you know what? Let me tell you this. Cam Newton's going to be back. He's going to be back many times. He is a superstar. You got a great team. I don't know what happened in that Super Bowl, but I'm kind of glad because Peyton Manning is, it's his last year.
Yeah, no. I think it's a lot of them their first year, and I think it's just I think it was a lot of nerves.
That's really true. That's really true. That's a big national spotlight. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
I know, as somebody in the national spotlight, how horrible that can be.
Right.
The pressure.
Questions. One, did you get your Surface update?
I did. And I think it fixed it all. So thank you for reminding me. I didn't mention that. Those of us who had Surface Pro 4s from Microsoft, or the Surface Book, which is what I have from Microsoft, were suffering all sorts of weird power problems. We call it the hot bag problem. You'd close the Surface Book, should go to sleep, right? Put it in your bag. You get where you were going, it'd be hot, and the battery would be dead because it kept running. That seems to be fixed. Microsoft pushed out a fix on Thursday, and I think it fixed everything.
Cool. Well, my little silly question was, I was talking with a friend, earlier I heard talking about hardware upgrades and hard drive prices falling and all, and I picked up a couple of 4 terabyte Seagate drives this week. And in the age of the...
How much were those 4 terabyte Seagate hard drives?
$110.
Holy magoli gadingalabinga. Wow. $110 for 4 terabytes.
Yeah. So I picked up a couple so I could store, the home movies. And
I know. Why not? Because they're cheap. Just get them.
Yeah. I mean, moving up from 1 to 4. So, but in putting the drives in, I was just thinking, with the age of the PC, do we have any devices that still use the A drive and B drive?
It's funny because I just got a brand new motherboard, state-of-the-art Asus motherboard. We're building a gaming machine for our Oculus Rift VR helmet. And I didn't notice a floppy disk controller on there anymore. I think those are gone. But Windows continues, in theory, although not actually in practice, to have lettered drives. They do that for compatibility, but it's my understanding that, in fact, it might even have started in Windows 8 or 7, but certainly Windows 10, the drive letters are imaginary. They're there because for legacy and backwards compatibility, you could still call it the C and the D drive, but that's not what they're named. No, not to the operating system.
Oh, okay. So I went out there and looked at the rename, and it says, "Oh, you could select A and B," and I'm like,
"Yeah, I know." Yeah, I know. It's think of it as an alias rather than the actual drive name. The actual drive name is much more like a Unix name, like /SD0/ whatever HD1, something like that.
Right, and I guess along those lines is with backwards compatibility, you always wondered why did they stop with naming the drive Z? Why couldn't you say ZA?
AA. You can, I think. But who has more than 26 hard drives? I think it does. I think it does double up, though. I seem to remember that. But that just doesn't happen very often.
That's true.
The new motherboard, it was interesting. So it has, I think, 6 SATA connectors. Those are the current state-of-the-art hard drive connectors. But there is a sticker on one of them that says boot drive. So that is SATA 0. That is the highest, the first one it's going to consult when it's booting up the computer. So there is still that concept of the boot drive. Used to be the C drive. Now it's just the boot drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that still persists.
Okay. Well, that was
good question.
So I thought I'd call and ask.
It's a blast from the past. Those of us who have been doing this for a while, we've seen a lot of changes. A lot of things different now. Yeah, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Great question. Good to talk to you. Do we still have drive letters? No, I don't think so. Only Microsoft knows for sure what's under the hood there, though. Dale from Santa Monica, you're next. Hi, Dale. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I've got a question for you I've got an older Mac program. It's called Steel. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's no longer available as far as I can tell. I got 62 records in there. It's companies that I bought from and my password for that company.
Oh no!
And I can't get it out.
So
I can't put it in any other.
The
form.
Steel program's still running, right? You can run it.
Yeah, it's running fine. But if
is there an export command or anything like that?
There's an export command, but it puts it out in. It mixes it all. It's all gibberish. I mean, it keeps the individual names and stuff like that, but it's not in one column or one row anymore.
So does it give you a choice of export formats?
No.
It just exports. And what is the format it's exporting to? Do you know? It's probably Steel. It sounds like it's still in the Steel format.
Yeah, it just says save as.
It's a save as. It's not. So there's a difference between save as and an export. A save as should just save another copy of the database.
Yeah.
Export would be to export that database in a format that others could read, like most commonly CSV or comma separated values. Is there any way to export?
Save as dot text.
Text. Text.
Text.
Wow. Now you know why Steel's out of business.
Yeah.
Wow. Anybody in the chat room have any thoughts on this one? I mean, 62 records, you could probably manually do this.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Copy, paste, copy, paste,
It won't even do a whole row, though.
So I would look at that text file and see if you can understand what it's doing. There's another format that's a little bit like CSV, tab separated values. And some databases use that because there may be commas in the content, in the field, and you don't want to get confused. Sometimes it'll be quote, tab, quote, comma. If open that text file what I would do is download Text Wrangler, which is a free, very capable text editor from Bare Bones software. They make BB Edit. Text Wrangler, you can turn on, there's a setting in the menu called Show Invisibles that will show you things like tabs. And with any luck, there is some structure to that text format. If there is, then you should be able to import it maybe in a spreadsheet, like Google Spreadsheets. These spreadsheets are the most capable in terms of row structure. This is why it's an issue putting all your passwords in a password vault.
Yeah, right.
You want to pick carefully, because if the company goes out of business or doesn't keep it up to date, you might have a vault that you can't open anymore.
Yeah. That's why I want to get it in another format.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Any modern password vault, 1Password's very good. I use LastPass and 1Password, Dashlane. There's so many of good ones out there now. All of the ones I've looked at, and there are about 10 of them, export in some format that can be read by other programs.
So I just need to get this into one of those formats.
Yeah. Find a good password vault and then make sure that password vault, even if they went out of business, has the ability to export. For instance, I was able to, it was really easy to move to 1Pass, export LastPass, and then 1Password says, oh, you have a LastPass file. Can I import that LastPass export? It understood it, and it categorized everything and did a very good job of handling it. So that's really what you want to do. You're going to do this once. You're going to get a pain point if you have to cut and paste, but at least you'll be moved to something that will be a little more future-proof. It's great to have a vault. You should have one. Get a modern one. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, our show today brought to you by my printer company, Love Epson. Who doesn't love Epson? You love Epson? Gosh, if you've grown up in the world of computing, you've been using Epson at least some of the time. I think I've probably never stopped using an Epson printer of some kind, starting with my FX80 and my MX80 dot matrix printers. I love the Epson inkjets. Use the Artisan. Not so long ago, I bought a Precision Core-based Workforce Pro. Boy, I love those. The Precision Core engine was brought up from the industrial line. 40 million drops of ink a second. Super fine, which means that you're getting super crisp black and white text, vivid colors. It has automatic double-sided printing. There's no warm-up time. And now they're putting these Precision Core engines into a new line called the EcoTank. Holy camole. This is brilliant, like the ET4550, which comes with enough ink to print 8,500 color pages. That's 50 ink cartridge sets worth. About 2 years for most people. And when you run out of ink in a couple of years, you go out and you get these low-cost replacement bottles. Oh, and they have them in all sizes. I never buy this because I don't have this kind of high-volume business printing. The WFR 4640 will do 20,000 pages. And then you reload it with ink packs. Ultra low cost, ultra innovative. Epson has done it again. All Epson printers deliver an unbeatable combination of convenience and value, and they all work wirelessly. So they work on Wi-Fi, but they also work with your tablet and your phone because they support all the protocols. I love this. Now you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, your office, your work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. EPSON.com/EcoTank. Epson. Exceed your vision. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Dick DeBartolo, he is the Giz Wiz. Every week joins us. Of course, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. Yes, you recognize the name. But he's also a gadget hound. A gizmo and gadget wizard. And he joins us every week to talk about the latest. Hello, Dickie
Well,
D.
you know what? I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Super. Now, the company I know you know, it was Toy Fair. Toy Fair closed on Tuesday night.
So jealous you get to go to that every year. That is so cool.
It's the first time I saw her in person, Makey. I know you know that. Makey.
Time to wake and bakey? What is Makey?
You know, Makey is where you can play a bunch of bananas with their kit.
Oh, okay. This is coming back to me because I think somebody took a bunch of Leo bobbleheads and turned it into a synthesizer.
Yes, you can take pretty much any item and turn it into anything you want. And so at the show, they were introduced. So that kit is $60, where you can take any inanimate object and turn it into.
Wait a minute. Any inanimate object?
Well, pretty much any.
Okay.
Pretty much any. But now they're introducing, there you go, make anything a key.
Well, a key like that will open the door. You could turn a banana into a key.
You could turn a banana into a key. And what they introduced at the show,
like a typewriter key.
A typewriter key. Oh yeah, not a door key.
Not a door key.
No, I tried getting in the front door with a banana. It did not work. It did not work. And so at the show, they introduced this new thing called Mikey Go. And this is a tiny little USB key so that you can make it so that when you touch something at the show.
They're showing a donut plugged into my USB port, and it works as there's a heart made out of plants.
Made out of plants. And at the show, it opened on Valentine's Day. Yeah. So I went up to Makey, and I said, well, what's new? And the guy said, touch the bouquet of flowers. Oh, no. And so I just touched the flowers, and the computer he had came up and said, Happy Valentine's Day. And he said, so that's what you can do. You can make it so that when anybody touches the object that you hooked the alligator clip to, it'll make a computer do something.
That's actually pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. So the big kit is $60, but the new little Makey Go is $25, $24.95.
Oh, it's relatively inexpensive.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
so you could make like a sensor. Kids would love this. Right? If somebody's stealing my bike, the alarm would go off when they touch the bike frame.
The guy said kids have taken buckets of water and made them into drums by using the alligator clips on the buckets of water.
It's a really cool idea.
Yeah. This may be the way to run the whole new studio.
I think we should build it out of Makeys. Yeah. Makey clips.
Save yourself a bunch of money. Yeah.
I like the banana bongo.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the flower vase that opened the greeting card for me. That was clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bread, scissors,
anything. Your hand.
Pretty much anything that can a pencil.
MAKEYMAKEY.com. Makey.
That's where they're at.
Dick DeBartolo is at gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. That's his website. You'll find out more about the Makey Go there and all the products he mentions, not only in this show, but on World News Now, on ABC, and all the other places he appears because he's very popular. You'll find a link to his fabulous GizWiz podcast. That's gizwiz.tv.
Oh, I'm just going to throw this in right now because I looked at the date. Leo, 10 years today.
What? That we started the GizWiz?
Yes, 10 years, February 20th.
Man, I'm such a quitter. I couldn't make it through 10 years.
No. You're not a quitter. You just go ahead and don't look behind.
I move forward like a shark.
You move, exactly.
Need to constantly breathe. But you're still doing it, which is to your credit. I used to host the show with Dick. Then I handed it off to my friend Chad Johnson, who's doing a great job with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We're still having fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And you're doing great, and it's nice to see. I understand spring has hit New York City again.
Yes, 61. It'll be 9 tonight.
It's so confusing.
Yeah, it's global fluxing. I don't know what it is. It's
the global flux capacitor. Dickie D, thank you so much. We'll see you later on the Giz Fizz PM, and of course on most of these same radio stations next week. GizWiz.biz. Oh, don't forget to play the What the Heck Is It contest. A chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine from Dickie D. Pete, San Diego, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Pete.
Hey, Leo. You know how a lot of the kids you know and I know don't even have a desktop computer?
I know.
Do everything on their phone.
Nobody does anymore. Desktop computers, that's a category that's gone.
Well, I have the opposite problem. They can do anything I can do on a phone, but I can't on that small screen.
I know.
I work at home, and I have a mid-2011 i7 iMac, and it just handles everything. It's fast enough and so forth, but I'm greedy now, and I need more real estate on the screen. Now, I could go out and get another monitor for the
I'll tell you, when I sit down in my home office, and I sit down in front of my 5K iMac, with 2 cinema displays, 27-inch displays on the left and the right, surrounded by my data, I thank my lucky stars every day that I have such a great setup. And you can do it too. So your 2011 can probably drive more than one screen.
Well, it can, and I can actually get non-Apple screens to do it, but the aspect ratio changes, and I'm a little leery of that. And to get the same aspect ratio, I need to get the Apple one, and it's $1,000.
I know.
For a 20-cent, and it's a dumb monitor.
Yeah, Apple overcharges for their monitors. Worse, they're not the latest state-of-the-art things. I'd go to Dell and look at the comparable Dell monitors. As long as it has the same connector, your iMac has Thunderbolt, right?
Yes.
So you get a Thunderbolt capable. By the way, that display port can also be Thunderbolt. So you just get one that is Thunderbolt capable from Dell, be half as much, just as good. Now, it's not going to look as pretty. It's going to have a black bezel, not a beautiful aluminum bezel and all that. But you're not going to have a problem with the aspect ratio. It will handle it properly. What happens is when you have multiple monitors and you open the desktop preference pane, is it'll put one of its preference panes on each monitor, and each monitor is set separately.
Oh.
So it's not a problem.
Like Windows 10. It doesn't work like Windows 10.
No. It's easy. Easy peasy.
Oh.
Apple's done multiple monitors well for years. This was something they did before Windows did it. And it's couldn't be easier. Even if you're not using an Apple monitor, any monitor, it senses the resolution of the monitor, picks an appropriate resolution, but you can change it because you have a separate control panel for each window.
Oh, okay. So can you move a window from one screen to the next?
You can.
You can, okay.
Absolutely.
And what will change? Okay.
So what I do, in fact, you can even say in the dock, you can say, when this program opens, I want it to go into display 1. When this program opens, go into display 3. So I have a setup. On my left, I have Twitter and our chat room. In the middle, I have my browser or Minecraft or whatever I'm doing focused on. On my right, I have all the messaging apps because there's so many of them. And I have them all running at the same time. So I have like a little control center. And whenever I reopen the computer, they all go to the right place. It's like I've trained them like little computer seals. No, it's great. You're going to love it. And your little minions. Your 2011 Mac can handle that. And I'm pretty sure it can handle 3. Although, if you wanted to get a 5K, they're beautiful. Hey, I'm out of time. Hey, thank you for the call. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to Kim Schaffer for taking the phone calls. Nathan Staten, our musical director. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts. For this show, we talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security and security now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.